Bullies kicks a black girl in class. What happened next? Ruined their lives forever. They thought silence was weakness. They thought a single kick could erase her presence. But one video, one moment of truth shattered every lie they lived behind. This isn't just a story about a bullied girl. It's about how truth, even when whispered, can roar louder than cruelty. Watch carefully. Monday mornings at Brookhaven College always smelled of burnt coffee and wet asphalt. The sound of laughter spilled through the corridors, mixed with the rhythm of sneakers on linoleum. In Lecture Hall 204, Professor Miles had barely started his class when a chair screeched across the floor. Ava Thompson sat near the window, her notebook neat, her posture straight, her presence quiet. She was a sophomore majoring in psychology, sharp-minded but invisible by choice. Her dark skin glowed softly under the pale fluorescent light. Most students barely knew her name. Behind her sat the trio everyone knew: Chase Miller, the star quarterback, Tyler Knox, his loudmouth best friend, and Liam Ross, the one who laughed at everything even when nothing was funny. They ruled the room with jokes sharper than knives. Ava never spoke, and in their world silence was a provocation. "Hey, new girl," Chase said, tossing a crumpled paper toward her. "You gonna ignore me all semester or what?" Ava didn't look back. She underlined a sentence in her notes. "Silence can be strength." The smirk on Chase's face faltered. Tyler snickered. "She thinks she's better than us, bro." The professor kept writing on the board, oblivious or pretending to be. Then it happened. The sound of a chair crashing echoed through the room. Ava gasped as her body hit the floor. The laughter died halfway through. For a moment, no one moved. The world froze around the image of a black girl on the cold classroom floor, and three boys staring, half amused, half terrified. Professor Miles looked up but said nothing. His chalk hand trembled, then continued writing. Ava got up slowly. She didn't cry, didn't yell. Just brushed the dust off her jeans and met Chase's eyes with a calm so sharp it sliced through his arrogance. That calm made him flinch. He kicked her notebook away, muttering, "Don't look at me like that." No one laughed this time. The silence in the room was thick enough to choke on. As Ava bent to pick up her notebook, a faint red light blinked under her sleeve. Her smartwatch. Quietly recording, she whispered under her breath, "You'll hear me soon enough." The corridors were buzzing after class. The incident spread in whispers. "Did you see that?" She just stood up like nothing happened. Ava walked slowly, her shoulders sore, her eyes fixed ahead. Every step was deliberate, controlled. She had learned long ago that anger shown too early burns out before justice begins. Back in her dorm room, the quiet hit her like a wall. She dropped her bag on the floor, sat on the bed, and unrolled her sleeve. The smartwatch screen glowed faintly, recording saved. She stared at it. For a long moment, her breathing stilled. The recording wasn't revenge. It was protection. She'd been through something similar before. Another school, another group of smiling monsters who thought their laughter had no witnesses. That time, the truth vanished in the system. This time, she had evidence. Her roommate, Maya Ellis, entered, warm, outspoken, and fiercely protective. "Please tell me you didn't just let them get away with that," Maya said. Ava didn't look up. I didn't react. "That's not the same as letting them win." Maya frowned. "Girl, that was assault. Everyone saw." "Everyone," Ava said quietly. "But no one will speak." Outside, rain tapped softly against the window. The kind of rain that felt like the world's slow apology. Ava replayed the clip. The laughter, the fall, the silence. She didn't flinch. She watched it the way a survivor studies the monster they've finally named. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. Unknown. "I saw what happened. I got a better angle. Don't delete anything." Ava's fingers froze. She typed back, "Who is this?" No reply. Across campus, in a dim dorm lit by neon posters, a student named Eli Parker, media major, stared at his camera. The video he'd captured was raw, painful, but true. He hit upload. Private. Unlisted. Title: Brookhaven Lecture Hall. The truth they'll deny. By Tuesday morning, the video had escaped the shadows. Someone leaked Eli's link on Twitter, then TikTok. Within hours, JusticeForAva was trending. Students gathered in the cafeteria. their phones lighting up with the same frozen frame. Chase's boot, Ava's fallen notebook, the teacher's silence. Chase arrived late to football practice, eyes dark, hands shaking. It's just the internet, he told himself. It'll blow over. But when Coach handed him his phone, already buzzing with messages from reporters, the illusion cracked. Meanwhile, Ava sat in the library, earbuds in, laptop open. She scrolled through the comments, reading each one in silence. She didn't even fight back. That calm, that's power. This isn't just bullying. This is what silence looks like. Her fingers trembled slightly. Maya leaned over. They're on your side, Ava. This could change everything. But Ava didn't smile. It could destroy them too. Good, Maya snapped. Ava looked at her, voice barely above a whisper. No, because then I'd be like them. Across the campus, Chase's world began collapsing in slow motion. His sponsors withdrew. His father, a donor to the college gown, called the dean in fury. The dean called Professor Miles, and by evening Professor Miles called Ava into his office. He didn't look her in the eye. Ava, you must understand. The college's reputation is at stake. We're investigating, but you need to take down that video. She stared at him, unblinking. I didn't post it. Still, he sighed. You could help us stop it, Ava stood. Stop it or bury it. When she left his office, the hallway lights flickered. A janitor passed by, humming an old tune, and for a moment Ava realized, the world moves on even when your whole life pauses. But this time, she wasn't letting it move without her truth by Wednesday. The whispers had turned into chants. Students were gathering in the quad, holding up cardboard signs. Silence is complicity. We stand with Ava. Ava walked through them quietly, her hood up, the morning air cold and sharp. She wasn't used to being seen, not like this. Her face was on screens, her name in hashtags, her story on lips she'd never met. In class, no one sat near Chase anymore. Even Tyler and Liam avoided his gaze. Professor Miles lectured in monotone, his eyes dull with regret. The walls of room 204 felt heavier now, as if they remembered. When the lecture ended, Chase slammed his notebook shut. You think this makes you a hero? He hissed at Ava. Ava didn't move. No, she said softly. It makes me visible. He stepped closer. You ruined my life. Her voice didn't rise. You did that yourself. Maya stood behind her, tense, ready to intervene. But Ava lifted a hand, not to fight, but to hold the moment still. There was power in not reacting. That night, the college email server crashed. Hundreds of students had sent messages demanding justice. News outlets began calling it the Brookhaven incident. At midnight, Eli texted Ava again, Eli. It's bigger than us now. The truth's gone viral. Ava. Then let it burn. She turned off her phone, lay in the dark, and let the quiet fill her lungs. Outside, a siren wailed somewhere in the city. For the first time, Ava wasn't afraid of the noise. Thursday morning, Ava was summoned to the dean's office. The air smelled of polished wood and quiet manipulation. Dean Hollis sat behind a wide desk, fingers steepled. To his right sat Mr. Miller, Chase's father, silver hair, expensive suit, the kind of man who never heard no. Ava, the dean began, this situation has escalated. We understand your pain, but the video has damaged the college's image. Mr. Miller leaned forward. My son's life is being ruined over a misunderstanding. If you care about fairness, you'll help us fix it. Ava's eyes flickered between them. Fairness? She repeated softly. He kicked me. Your professor ignored it. And you want to fix your image? Dean Hollis exhaled. If you could release a statement, say it wasn't intentional. Ava interrupted. You want me to lie? Silence fell like a curtain. Mr. Miller's tone hardened. You don't understand how the world works, young lady. Ava met his gaze. No, sir. You don't understand that it's changing. She stood up, her chair scraping the floor. You can threaten my scholarship, my dorm, my degree, but you can't silence what's already been heard. As she walked out, the dean's voice trembled. Think carefully, Ms. Thompson. Ava didn't turn back. I already have. Ava didn't go to class that day. She walked through the empty athletic field instead, the grass wet with morning dew, the world muffled under a pale gray sky. Her phone buzzed with messages, notifications, news links, her name everywhere. Each ping felt like a heartbeat she couldn't control. She stopped under the bleachers, watching the rain collect in puddles. For a moment she thought of her mother, the way she used to say, "Silence is not weakness, baby. It's the pause before your power speaks." Her chest ached with that memory. A shadow moved behind her. Eli, camera bag slung over his shoulder. "You okay?" he asked gently. Ava nodded, though her eyes were tired. "I didn't want any of this." "I know," Eli said. "But sometimes the truth decides for us." He sat beside her, the sound of rain pattering softly above them. "You know, when I recorded that day, I wasn't trying to expose anyone. I just saw something wrong and couldn't unsee it." Ava looked at him. "You did what the professor couldn't." He shook his head. "I just pressed record. You stood back up." The silence between them wasn't awkward, and it was healing. For the first time, Ava felt seen without being stared at. Then Eli's voice dropped. "They're coming after me, too. Someone slashed my camera cords last night." Ava's jaw tightened. "They're scared." He met her eyes. "Yeah. And people who are scared do stupid things." As thunder rolled in the distance, Ava whispered, "Let them. The truth doesn't flinch." The rain fell harder, but neither of them moved. It was as if they both knew. Storms don't destroy truth. They reveal who stands in the rain. By Friday, the campus felt like it was breathing tension. Flyers appeared overnight. "Expel Chase Miller. Protect Ava Thompson." Local reporters swarmed the gates. Parents called the administration. Every step Ava took was followed by whispers and phone cameras. In the cafeteria, Chase sat alone at a corner table. His food untouched, his hands trembling around his phone. Message after message. Death threats, insults. Broken friendships. Tyler and Liam had already distanced themselves, claiming they didn't mean for it to go that far. Chase stared at the screen until his reflection blurred. When he finally looked up, he saw Ava walking past the glass window. For a fleeting second, guilt cracked through his anger. He pushed up from his chair and followed her out to the courtyard. "Ava," he called. She stopped. The crowd's chatter fell quiet. "What do you want?" she asked. His voice wavered. You don't know what this has done to me." Her expression didn't change. "You mean what you did to yourself?" "I'm getting kicked off the team. My dad's losing donors. People hate me." Ava took a step closer. "Do you think I wanted any of this? I just wanted to be left alone." His jaw clenched. "You ruined my life." Her eyes glistened. "No, Chase, you exposed yours." The silence that followed felt like judgment. Students filmed, but no one spoke. Chase looked around at the faces, once adoring, now cold. He whispered, "You'll regret this." But even he didn't believe it. When he walked away, Ava's shoulders slumped. The weight of what had begun felt heavier than ever. Later that night, she stood in front of the mirror, touching the faint bruise on her shoulder. She didn't see pain anymore. She saw proof she survived. But somewhere across campus, Chase's window light stayed on until morning, and by sunrise, he was gone. The news broke before sunrise. Brookhaven student found dead in apparent suicide. The headline hit like a cold wind. Ava's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Maya burst into the room, pale and shaking. "It's Chase," she said softly. "He's gone." Ava froze. Every sound of the ticking clock, the hum of the heater, we are vanished into silence. She couldn't breathe. The campus fell into chaos. Reporters swarmed. Students cried, some out of guilt, some because the reality of their cruelty finally hit them. In the cafeteria, the seat where Chase used to sit was empty, a hollow space that made even laughter sound wrong. Ava sat on her bed, staring at the floor. Maya knelt beside her. "It's not your fault." But Ava's whisper was almost broken. "I didn't want him to die. I just wanted it to stop." Her phone buzzed again, another message from Eli. "Eli, they're blaming you. Stay offline." She turned on the TV. The headline read, "Bullying Scandal Leads to Student Death. Victim's Role Under Investigation." Victim's role. The words hit her like a second kick. The world that once cheered for her now turned its teeth inward. She whispered, "How can the truth feel so heavy?" Outside, students held a vigil for Chase. Candles flickered in the wind. Someone placed his football jersey on the steps of the library. Ava watched from afar, face hidden under her hood. Eli found her there. "You shouldn't be out here," she replied softly. He was human too. The wind lifted her words like a prayer no one wanted to hear. Over the next week, the college spiraled. Reporters demanded statements. Donors pulled funding. Social media exploded with arguments, half defending Ava, half condemning her. The dean's office released a statement about mutual accountability. It satisfied no one. Ava stopped attending class. Her inbox filled with hate mail. Even her professors grew distant, treating her like a fragile scandal they couldn't afford to touch. One night, Maya found her sitting on the dorm floor, surrounded by papers and open textbooks. "You can't let this destroy you," Maya whispered. Ava's voice cracked. "They think I killed him." "You didn't. The truth did." Ava looked up. "Then why does it feel like I'm the one who has to pay?" Across campus, Eli sat alone in the editing lab, watching clips of the video, frame by frame, trying to understand how something meant to help turned into tragedy. He noticed something. Just before Chase's kick, Professor Miles glanced straight at him and nodded. Eli froze, rewound, played again. It wasn't random. The professor saw what was happening and let it unfold. Eli's hands shook as he exported the clip. The truth wasn't finished yet. He texted Ava, "Meet me, midnight, journalism lab. There's more." The journalism lab was dark except for the glow of a single monitor. Eli looked pale, eyes red from sleepless nights. When Ava entered, he turned the screen toward her. "Watch this." The footage played. The classroom, the kick, the silence. But then, in slow motion, Professor Miles's head tilted. His eyes flicked to Eli's camera, and he smiled. Not a kind smile. A knowing one. Ava's stomach twisted. "He saw everything." Eli nodded, and he didn't stop it. He let it happen. They stared at the frozen frame, the teacher's faint smirk as Ava fell. Ava's voice trembled. "Why would he?" Eli cut her off. "Because he's been protecting them. The dean, the donors, the image. It's all connected." Ava sat down, her body shaking. "If we release this, they'll destroy us." Eli leaned closer. "If we don't, they'll destroy the next person." For a long moment, they just sat there, two students caught between justice and survival. Finally, Ava whispered, "Then we don't hide anymore." They uploaded the new footage to every platform they knew. This time, not under anonymous names. Ava Thompson, Illy Parker, no filters, no captions, just truth. As the file uploaded, the progress bar glowed like a slow sunrise on their faces. Ava exhaled. Let them see everything. Outside, the first light of dawn broke through the clouds. The truth was no longer theirs to carry alone. By sunrise, Brookhaven College was on fire, not with flames, but with truth. The new footage hit the internet like lightning. Within hours, it was everywhere. Reddit, Twitter, Instagram reels. The headline read, "Professor smiles as student gets kicked." Full video leaked. Outrage swept through the campus like a wave too high to contain. Students flooded the dean's office, chanting for resignations. Reporters filled the gates, their microphones trembling in the wind. Dean Hollis called an emergency meeting. The board sat in silence as the footage played on the projector. The kick, the laughter, the professor's smirk. When it ended, no one spoke. The truth was too loud. Mr. Miller, Chase's father, was there too. His jaw clenched, his power slipping like sand through his fingers. "You edited that," he barked. Eli stood up, trembling but firm. "We didn't edit anything, sir. We just stopped pretending." The dean's face turned pale. "Professor Miles," he began weakly, "would you like to explain?" But Professor Miles had already left the campus. His office was empty, desk cleared, resignation letter typed and unsigned. Outside, students gathered around Ava, some hugging her, some just standing near and not saying much, but showing solidarity through silence. Maya whispered, "You did it." Ava shook her head. "We did it." Eli looked up at the gray sky. "It's strange, isn't it? Truth doesn't fix everything, but it makes the lies stop breathing." For the first time in weeks, Ava smiled. A tired, soft smile, the kind you earn through pain, not luck. But deep down, she knew this wasn't the end. The truth had come out. Now came the cost. By evening, Ava's inbox overflowed. Half were messages of support. The other half, hate, threats, venom disguised as advice. "You ruined a man's career. You made a boy kill himself. You should have stayed quiet. Each word felt like a stone thrown through her window. Maya tried to delete them, but Ava stopped her. No, she said quietly. Let me see what truth does to people. Meanwhile, the college suspended all classes. News vans lined the gates. Students gave interviews telling stories of years of unreported racism and favoritism. Ava's courage had cracked something open, and everything ugly inside was spilling out. That night, Dean Hollis called her again. Ava, he said, his voice tight, we're offering you early withdrawal with full credit. You can continue your degree elsewhere. Quietly. Ava closed her eyes. You mean you want me gone? This campus needs time to heal, she almost laughed. Heal? You mean hide? He sighed. I'm giving you an out. I don't want out, she said softly. I want accountability. When the call ended, she stood by the window, city lights reflecting in her eyes. Her reflection looked older, stronger, but sadder. Eli messaged her. They're coming for me next. She replied. Then we stand together. Outside, the rain started again. The same slow, steady rhythm as that first day, but this time she didn't see it as mourning. It felt like cleansing. The following Monday, Brookhaven College held a public hearing. Cameras, reporters, students, faculty, the whole community watching. Ava walked into the auditorium wearing a simple white blouse. No makeup, no armor, just truth. Dean Hollis opened the session with words about responsibility and the lessons we must all learn. But no one listened. All eyes were on the girl who had refused to stay silent. When Ava took the microphone, her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of the moment. I didn't come here to destroy anyone, she began. I came here to learn, but I learned something else instead, that silence is the first language of injustice. The crowd was silent. You could hear the hum of the lights above. I was kicked, humiliated, and ignored. And when I stood up, they said I started a war. But all I did was record the truth. If truth feels like war, then maybe peace has been a lie all along. A murmur spread through the hall. Some people wiped tears. Ava took a deep breath. I'm not asking for pity. I'm asking for reflection. Because this isn't about me anymore. It's about the next student, the one who'll sit in silence, waiting for someone to notice. She stepped back. The applause wasn't loud at first. It was soft, hesitant. Then it grew, wave after wave. Dean Hollis didn't clap. But he didn't look up either. Weeks passed. Professor Miles was publicly dismissed. The dean faced an internal investigation. Policies were rewritten overnight. New training, new reporting systems, new words on posters that once meant nothing. But for Ava, healing came quietly. Not in applause, not in articles, but in moments. One evening, she sat on the steps outside the library, the same spot where Chase's jersey once lay. She watched the sunset paint the sky in bruised oranges and fading gold. Eli joined her, camera around his neck. You ever think about what comes next? He asked. She smiled faintly. Maybe we stop chasing closure and start building beginnings. He nodded. You changed this place, she looked down. No, I just reminded it to listen. Across the campus, a mural had appeared. A silhouette of a girl standing tall beneath the words, "Your silence won't save you, but your voice might save someone else." Ava touched the words softly, her eyes wet. I guess they were listening after all. For the first time, she felt peace. Not the kind that forgets pain, the kind that forgives it enough to move forward. Months later, Ava graduated early. Her story had become a documentary, a case study, a spark in classrooms far beyond Brookhaven. But fame didn't change her. She still walked with quiet steps and spoke with gentle strength. On her last day, she visited room 204, now empty, desks rearranged, sunlight pouring through the window where it had all begun. She placed her hand on the desk she'd once sat at. You don't scare me anymore, she whispered. In that silence, she imagined Chase, not as the boy who kicked her, but as the boy who never learned how to face his own pain. She whispered, I forgive you. Outside, the wind carried her words like something sacred. Eli filmed her walking away from the building, her shadow long in the golden light. No music, no narration, just truth. The screen would later fade to black with one line she wrote herself. Justice isn't revenge. It's remembrance. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Someone near you might be fighting their silence right now. Speak up. Listen deeply. Because truth only lives when it's shared. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon, and never forget, even quiet voices can change everything.